life is absurd and funny in a lot of aspects. As a kid, I was drawn to writers like Irma Bombeck. I had mentioned when we went to the Catskills, I loved hearing the Borscht Belt comedians, and laughing is good for you and it's fun and it feels good. And so I enjoy trying to make other people laugh because I enjoy laughing as well. Always makes me feel better to have a good laugh.
Welcome to the Wisdom We Share podcast, where ancient truths and modern intelligence weave together to inspire, ground, and shape us for a wiser, awakened life. I'm Anjani Amrit.
And I'm Robin Wald. And together we bring you fascinating conversations from the worlds of spirituality, science, and human behavior, so you can connect to your own inner wisdom, joy, and clarity, elevating the way you actually live your life. I am so excited to have my friend Marlene Fischer join us today. Marlene Fischer is a humorist and blogger with nearly 60,000 followers on her Thoughts from Aisle 4 Facebook page and Substack. She's the author of 3 hilarious and insightful books: Gained a Daughter but Nearly Lost My Mind, How I Planned a Backyard Wedding During a Pandemic, Trapped in My Sports Bra, and Other Harrowing Tales. And I was hoping to age like a fine wine, but I'm feeling more like an avocado. Marlene is the mother of 3 sons and has 1 grandson and 3 beloved daughters-in-law. She writes about parenting, grandparenting, aging, and is a self-proclaimed expert in laundry and stain removal. More recently, Marlene also blogs about U.S. politics, and she apologizes to the international listeners for the current administration. On a personal note, I've known Marlene for many years. We practice yoga together, and she always makes me laugh. I know Marlene to be both funny and deeply caring about her loved ones, her community, and the state of the world. So welcome to the Wisdom We Share podcast today.
I'm so happy to be here, and that was a pretty thorough introduction, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to jump in and start by asking, how did you find yourself being a humorist, right? There's so many things to write about that you could write about. Like, what is it about you that really seeks to find what's funny in the messiness and chaos of ordinary life?
I don't think I seek to find it. I think it pops out. Life is absurd and funny in a lot of aspects. As a kid, I was drawn to writers like Irma Bombeck. I had mentioned when we went to the Catskills, I loved hearing the Borscht Belt comedians, and laughing is good for you and it's fun and it feels good. And so I enjoy trying to make other people laugh because I enjoy laughing as well. Always makes me feel better to have a good laugh.
Marlene, I sometimes think that laughter is medicine. It can be medicine for things to go through in life. And I know you've talked about grief a lot in your writings and everything that you do. Personally, I've experienced a lot of grief in my life. I'm still grieving two fur babies, which is often not spoke about. When you don't have kids, you don't really have a family, but you have fur baby families. How do you feel that humor can be medicine? My mum also lost a son. I lost my brother. And often we will turn to humor, something humorous on TV or something, or talk about things in a humorous way. How can it be medicine for us, do you think?
I too lost an infant son and my brother when he was in his 40s. And these are very difficult things, not necessarily in the natural order. And yes, for babies, that is a loss. I am a pet lover. I've had dogs. I currently have a dog. I mean, have you ever lost control with your good friend and you just devolve into laughter and it feeds on itself and you can't stop and you just get the giggles? How good does that feel after when you've had a moment or two like that where you just keep devolving and it just can break tension. And there was a Mary Tyler Moore episode where she was laughing when her friend Chuckles the clown at his funeral. I think he was crushed. He was wearing a peanut costume and he was crushed by an elephant. And she just uncontrollably starts laughing. And it was her way to deal with grief. And I think for some people, it is a way to deal. I know it does help me. And in turn, I try and help others by doing that. So it's definitely medicine as much or better than anything you can take orally by prescription.
Yeah, I think as well, life can be quite, it can be quite diminishing as we grow older as well. And the more that we have an experienced loss, and for me personally, I reach for humor particularly. And when I teach, and when I coach and mentor, I include humor because, and lightness and brevity, and all great masters and gurus do, is, it's like, don't take it all so seriously, even when it feels serious. And that's not to diminish our
Right.
experiences, but I think it's wonderful medicine to have humor and to your perspective on life. For me, it's not just humor, it's deeply philosophical, but I'll hand to Robin. So I've got so many questions, but I'll hand to Robin and then I'll ask my other, I'll wait in turn.
So I'll just piggyback on that and say that, I've experienced that some people take themselves very seriously and really get offended or defensive if anyone tries to, tease them or point out something quirky or that is laughable. But some people have really get very upset.
Yes.
And I don't know if that comes from insecurity or from some wounds where they felt bullied or teased or invalidated when they were younger and they're on high alert. So I'm not going to judge anybody's experience, but I do think there's something so wonderful when we can be lighthearted about ourselves, see our own flaws, laugh at and make fun of our own flaws, like be open to laughing when someone else is laughing at us with us. Like, okay, I think that that's a very special quality that not everybody has. So I'm curious, have you always been able to laugh at yourself, or did something in your youth kind of like invite you into that? Like,
That's a really good question. I don't know that I ever thought about it. I think I just was always a little funny. And one of my parents was a little more serious, and one of my parents was a little less serious, more serious, less serious. I had different things going on. And I learned to do it in my head if it wasn't appreciated for me saying out loud. But as I got older and more comfortable in my skin, I stopped saying it in my head. And I taught my kids to be funny. I have three very funny sons, dry humor, quick-witted, and I think that helps them navigate. We all try and outdo each other in humor, and they best me all the time. And I love it. And I'm okay with them making fun of me. Look, I am tired. And, my youngest used to say it's like a nursing home here. He was living home for a year. He told his brothers he was taking care of us in the home. But as long as it doesn't cross over too mean, and that can happen too, you can't, it's okay to be funny and laugh at yourself and laugh at others, but not be cruel. There is a line there, and I do try not to cross it. So,
Yeah, it's important that we understand, isn't it, the difference between making fun with each other and making fun of another.
mhm.
And I think your work just hits that razor's edge so beautifully. I'm fascinated by the way you see life, your perspective on life, because it doesn't come from the conditioned societal, familial, it doesn't come from any of that. It comes from a very unique, your own, I would even venture to say your soul or spirit's perspective. It's very clean, it's very pure. You talk about in your book, Trapped to My Sports Bra, it's hilarious on the surface, but the descriptions also for me point to marriage, parenting, to loss. For me, you know, midlife is quite an underrated emotional reality. And what you've managed to do is bring some really raw, really honest truths about that subject matter in a way that is really relatable. Do you how when you were writing that, did you just go, I'll just lay it all out here? Or was it more of a cathartic process for you? Or did you go through the catharsis and then write it?
If you're looking for a trusted, skillful expert to support your deeper work of self-exploration and evolution in your life, relationships, business, or spiritual growth, we invite you to reach out anytime.
This is the deeper work Robin and I love to do beyond the podcast. Impactful mentorship, coaching, spiritual guidance, astrology in a one-on-one setting. All the links are sitting right there for you in the show notes.
I don't think there's a process. I did get trapped in my sports bra. Robin helped me navigate.
Witness to that. She was dealing with a shoulder injury that was very limiting in our yoga practice for a long time, that she was PTing because she literally got stuck in the sports bra and tweaked her shoulder and the rotator.
So it was COVID and I was working out and gained a few pounds. The sports bra was tight and it didn't have a hook in the back. So it was wet. I was sweaty and I got it up to about here. And women know it, like spandex, it like rolled and it's like in a little ball between here and here and I'm tugging and that's how I got the injury. But it's funny. I mean, you think about the imagery of someone being trapped in their sports bra. And I should have probably cut it off, but I probably would have stabbed myself and bled out. So I opted to keep trying to get it off. And that turned out to be a very big mistake, huge. But I don't think I have a process. I think I'm very honest. And like I said, I'm not afraid of making fun of myself. And in retrospect, it's funny. People wrote in, that was a post that did really well on my Facebook page. One woman said she got stuck trying to take a dress over her head in a dressing room and she fell over and she broke her leg and they had to call the ambulance. And people were regaling all kinds of stories and it allowed them to share and laugh. She said she literally shopped until she dropped. And people were really funny and they appreciated the chance to vent. And so I think I'm just honest. And if you're really honest, things are funny. And if you have a way to just, so I don't really have a process. Is it cathartic? I guess it's cathartic, but I sometimes chuckle while I'm writing and I just enjoy doing it. And then I love their reactions when they relate and they laugh and I feel good about it. So
I've seen you take something we talked about during a yoga session together, and you were like, you'll hear something that I say or something that you say, and in that moment you'll have like the light bulb will go off, and you'll say, "Oh, this would make a really funny post." And then the next thing I know, later that day you've posted it, and the next day it's a blog entry. I remember when I gave you a tarot reading, and that was the first time you had had a tarot reading, and there was a card it was a Four of Pentacles card, and the woman was holding her purse, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, I really like that purse. Where can I get that purse?" And you did this whole funny take on seeing yourself like looking for that purse, and there's just something about being open to the lightheartedness and where that could take you is so relatable then to your readers. And I'm sure,
I have certain shtick. I do love Hamburg bags. That's really true. And Groundhog Day is we just mailed our holiday card. Robin, look for yours in the mail today. And Hugh Jackman. I have recurrent themes that I love to talk about. Wait, Hugh Jackman's Australian, right?
Yeah, he is.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I love Australia. He's like my guy. Don't tell, well, my husband knows it's okay.
is he your hall pass?
He's my hall pass.
Oh, cute. Come on, please get in touch. We'll put you together.
We're gonna have to tag you, Jackman, in this post. Yeah.
Well, yes, yes. I saw a
It's so
show
weird.
with him once, and I was like in the third row, and he was sitting on the steps singing to me, and I thought, okay, well, now if I die today, it's okay. I've reached the pinnacle, so it's fine. But yeah, so I don't even know what we were talking about, but where
Doesn't
I
matter.
heard Hugh Jackman, and I literally went down that road. So.
Tell us a little bit about Groundhog's Day. I don't know if this is a thing in Australia.
It's
Groundhog's
not a
Day
thing.
is
So
not a thing.
please explain. It's not a thing in England either. So I've no idea what you are talking about.
Exactly.
So
But not only is it not a
Marlene's got,
thing,
for the listeners, her mouth is literally wide open.
not only
Explain,
is
people.
it not a thing outside of the US, but it's not a thing outside of Marlene Fischer. Like nobody celebrates Groundhog's Day. People send holiday
Robin,
cards.
it's Groundhog Day, not
Please
Groundhog's
correct
Day.
me. Groundhog Day, no possessive, no apostrophe. People send holiday cards, Christmas cards, New Year's cards, birthday cards. Marlene sends a Groundhog Day card. She's the only person in the world, I think, who does this. What is that about for you? Why is that a thing?
So I was interviewed by AccuWeather about this because they found an article I had written about ground. It's a day. It's if you look on a US calendar, it says Groundhog Day every February 2nd, whenever that falls. And since I don't know, 1800s, they pull in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania, they pull a rodent out of a burrow and he whispers in their ear whether he sees his shadow or not, and whether there's going to be an early spring or 6 more years, that's what it feels, 6 more weeks of winter. So back in the 80s, I guess, Bill Murray, you probably know who, but the actor did a movie called Groundhog Day, where he's a weatherman and he gets stuck reliving February 2nd over and over and over and over and over. And he's really miserable in the beginning. And he falls in love with Andy McDowell and he wants to make her love him back. But he's so miserable until he works. There's such a good meaning. It's an amazing movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. And he has all the time in the world. And he figures out how to improve himself and how to do for others. It's funny. It's has a great message. It's truly an amazing movie that has stood the test of time. And so in December, we could never get our act together, as I say, like normal people, to send out a holiday card. January would roll around. We're like, what can we send the card out for? And my family, not just me, we didn't want to do Valentine's Day. Like boring, whatever, you don't. But Groundhog Day is very special. I've ordered a groundhog cake. We watch the movie over and over. I used to make my kids watch the movie on February 2nd because they run it in a continuous loop on TV and they would complain. Now they all watch it. My youngest makes his girlfriend watch it. It's become their tradition. Everyone knows February 2nd. It's the Fisher's holiday and it's a lot of fun. And it's also a really good message. If you had all the how would you improve yourself? Reassess. It's sort of better than New Year's because it's a day to think about reassessing. So I love the holiday. And watch the movie if you haven't seen it.
I have so seen that movie many times, and I agree. It's just got this beautiful. For a start, there's no killing and murdering, and it's got this beautiful message of if you had to do the day over and over. You know, at first he's like real sneaky and tricky, and then he realizes actually it's better if you're a good person. And I think that I don't know. I think from reading some of your writing and some of your work, I think that deep down, whether it's conscious or not, Marlene, you are doing that as well for your readers, who you call mates. You're doing that. And I think there's something much deeper in your work. I know it is very funny. It's incredibly relatable, but also that those two combined, it goes to a much deeper place of a deep connection, you know, human to human, and these human experiences that we have, and bringing a much deeper message. write with that intention. I bet you don't, but I'm curious as to whether you do or not.
If there's some topic you're curious about, or an issue that maybe you're struggling with and seeking some insight and guidance around, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us either through our social links or on our web pages and pop us your questions so we can discuss them and offer some wisdom on an upcoming episode of the podcast.
I truly, deeply want this world to be a better place and a fairer place and a more equitable, kinder place. So I I hope that comes through in my writing because at the end of the day, it's misery. I believe people deserve food and healthcare and kindness, and I'd rather maybe some people they talk about gaming the system. I'd rather some people, all right, maybe someone's gaming the system, but I'd rather other people are covered who need it. And so that's part of my mission, my writing to gently or not so gently lately, maybe try and make the world a better place. And one, that's through laughter, and two, pointing out the inequities of life. And I don't know. I think I'm a little bit ideal or a lot of bit idealistic and would prefer to see something a little better on this planet and the environment and so many issues. I'm a grandma now and a nana, and I want a better world for my grandson and future grandchildren and everyone, not just mine, everyone's grandchildren. So yeah, when I write, I have that in my mind too. Maybe I can sway somebody to act differently or do something or call to action or something. So that's in the back of there, more so lately than in my earlier writings. And I hope to go back to, I hope we can get this world to a place where I can spend more time writing about falling apart and, my hip that hurts and everything that comes after menopause and beyond, which is a tricky spot in life. So, yeah, I'd like to go back to being lighter because, especially the events here this past weekend with some things going on, I don't want to be overly political in this podcast, but that does weigh on my mind a lot. So, yeah, that's been more in my current and recent writings. It
Do you feel that writing about the inequities and the injustices that you see and kind of being that voice, which is a call to action, do you feel that that somehow is also medicine for you personally around, what could draw you down into a very dark, cynical, kind of hateful place, right? Because politics it's ugly and there's so much negativity and so much charge to that, and we can get really angry in response. Or what you're doing is kind of, you're expressing it in a way that is then inspiring others to maybe behave differently. So I'm wondering, again, also, I guess you've already spoken to this, but did you ever consider yourself to be an activist as a writer?
I never was. I never thought of myself as a feminist, an activist, none of it. But as I've gotten older, that's come out more. And you say hateful. I have a lot of hate right now. It doesn't prevent me from being hateful. I have a lot of anger in my heart at the current things that are going on. And but I feel that it's better to be productive and tell people, I'm going to protest this weekend and maybe you should too, and maybe we should think about this issue and here's something you can do or contribute or call or here are actual things we can do besides venting and having a community, which is also important. I want people to feel less alone because that is really important. People despair and feel alone, but also to meet up and see these people in person. And so, whereas I never really thought of myself as an activist, I find it's become more necessary. And I want to be out there and be able to say, I tried. I tried, I wrote, I did all the things I could. And sometimes it's frustrating because I don't think I'm making a difference at all. But then, we don't always know what kind of difference we're making, what the ripple effect is. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful there's something or somebody out there who heeds or feels something or motivated or at least less alone.
Well, you have a wonderful community. You have an online community of, thousands of people. So you have influence. And it's interesting that we've just moved into an era from Pisces to Aries, from the last house to the first, which is all about individuation and coming, into our own. And for me, sure, we can have an emotion of anger and frustration, but we're not seeing the bigger picture. And I think if we can zoom out and see the bigger picture, that this is a shift in paradigm and everything's got to crumble. And there has to be a catalyst for that. And so if we can see that what is happening in the world, there's simply catalyst for a breakdown. And the catalyst ignites the fire in our belly. We're not going to stand up and protest. We're not going to say, hey, this is not okay if it's comfortable. And so we have to get squeezed, we have to get really uncomfortable, and then we'll speak up. And I love that you're riding those waves, those first boats of speaking up and, getting engaged and being involved. And I think that's very commendable of you. And I think if we all, we don't have to be attached to the fruits of our actions. We just have to know, hey, I'm going to speak up for what I know is true, for what I know is good. And I see you as a do-gooder more than, anything else. Is you're doing good. You're doing such great work in the world. And I think that, your work is touching many people in many ways. It certainly did for me when I, was looking at your work and how you write and what you write about. It's incredibly impactful. And our energy is very incredibly impactful. So we have to, continue that really, really powerful work. So for your future, if you look at the coming few years and post-menopause, like you said, I'm in that same boat as well. What do you have in mind to write? Do you have another book coming that you have in mind, more posts? Where do you see yourself going, especially in this economic, political climate of transition?
That's a really good question also. I don't know. I couldn't have predicted any of this when I started. I had three readers, and probably one of them was my mother, and another was like my best friend. And so way has led to way, and it's just been a path that has evolved. Whereas I started blogging more about my kids and how rotten they were, especially when they were little, but they're really not all that rotten and they're grown-ups now. So they can, there's still stuff to write about. Maybe a fourth book about being a grandparent. I don't know. That's a interesting thing that's happened, and there is what to write about with that. I have a second grandchild due in May, and but I like writing on Substack. Books are a lot of effort. It takes such a long time and it's such a process, and the editing, and it really could take, a year to, and I kind of like writing these small vignettes and on Substack and doing it daily, and it seems more manageable to break it down unless I have enough material and I put it all together again. But we'll see. Right now, I'm writing mostly about current events and things happening. I would like to pivot, but it's interesting when I write about other things right now, it does okay, but the thing people really want to read about is the stuff in the news right now. And so I don't necessarily want to pigeonhole myself, but I do respond to what people want to read about. So that's where I am right now. And I went with my oldest kids and my grandson on vacation a few weeks ago on a baby moon, which is apparently a holiday you go on before you have a baby. It didn't exist in my day. So I wrote a couple of funny posts about that, and I said it should be a grandbaby moon, and we and it was fun, and it was nice to be with them for a few days. But they had balloons and all these things in their room. I had nothing, and I feel like that's something hotels should work on. And but so I wrote a couple of funny posts about being away with them and grandparenthood. So I do still throw them in every now and again, but we'll see what the future. I couldn't have predicted any of this, like being on podcasts or having AccuWeather interview me regarding Groundhog Day, or so you just sort of do your best and see where it leads. And I have a couple of friends who kept inspiring me, and I'm like, why am I doing this? In the beginning, I was making no money and I had no readers, and I'm spending all this time spinning my wheels. And she's like, you don't know where it'll lead, keep going. I had a few people like that, and that's why you need best friends to push you along and to lift you up and to say you can do this. So I want to be that for other women who reach out to me and inspire them to find their new act and whatever is in their heart. Because look, we all have wisdom. We've gotten to this point. We know stuff. We know shit. Am I allowed to say shit on a
Yes, you can.
podcast? Is
Yes,
that
you are. Yeah.
so we all have different kinds of wisdom. And so we need each other to say, keep going. You got this. Do this podcast. Reach out, just so
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going. Long answer. I have no idea. We'll see. Or
Uh,
I could stop at some point if I have had enough and feel good. I don't know.
mm. Well, I want to ask you about your writing. Books are different, long process, a lot of planning. But what you've shifted to with the Substack is a daily writing practice and a daily post. And I'm curious, is that challenging to show up every day and force yourself to sit down and find something to say and then put it in words and post it? Is there ever a day when you're like, not today? I'm just not going to do that. Like, what keeps you coming back, and where does that discipline come from?
I have no idea because really I'm pretty lazy. So I really don't know. I don't write every day. I probably put out 5 Substacks a week. Maybe I take one day off on the weekends and one day off during the week on a day I'm busy with yoga and other things. Wednesdays, I don't always write. Where does that? I don't want to disappoint my readers. I want to see how far I can go and grow, and that only happens if you keep going. I took a very short 30-year hiatus to raise my children. And so I didn't have the career I maybe wanted. The childbearing years ended up being very extended. And I have a big age gap in my kids' ages, and my husband wasn't home. A lot of reasons didn't happen. And so it's happening now. And I want to seize this moment because I don't know that, into the future how long, but yeah, there are days I'm like, I don't want to do this, but there's so much to write about and talk about. I open a paper, I read my emails and the news, and I'm like, oh, yeah. It's some of them actually write themselves. I sit down and before I know it's there. So then I have to edit it and put it up. But yeah, some days it's a pain in the neck. But any job is. Absolutely any job. There are things you like more about it and things you like less about it. So I just, but for the most part, I'm loving what I'm doing now. So it feels good.
That's the key. When you love what you do, it's not work. And I think you're an amazing role model for, especially for older women, women who've moved into that sage time of their life, the wise woman time of their life, because you're saying to everyone very clearly, and not through your mouth, but through your actions, that life isn't over after midlife. Life is just beginning, and you are, I see you as just blossoming as who you are. You've done your dharma, you've raised your family, you've done all of the things that you came here to do for others. And now you're able to express your own wisdom. And I think that that is so undervalued and underrated in our society, the wisdom that post midlife people, men and women, have, particularly women, because we carry the stories with us. And you are especially carrying stories with you, and you are a voice for and of the people. So I just want to, thank you for being brave, because you are, and you probably don't think that you are, but you are very brave and courageous in what you write and how you write. And just as we're wrapping up, I want to ask, do you have a daily practice other than writing, which is your daily practice, obviously? Do you have any other daily practice that you do that just keeps you on the straight and narrow, keeps the world all kind of lined up for you?
Well, you've been really good for my ego, so I just want to say I don't feel brave, but thank you. I got, wow, what an ego boost. Daily things. I eat chocolate every day. That's a huge, with my coffee in the morning, that's a huge daily practice. A little bit of yoga. What? Cleaning? I'm like Monica on Friends. I find cleaning very thin laundry stain, like not joking, a
Yeah.
little therapeutic going through the repetitive motions of that. It's sort of, I can clear my mind and just do things physically. And sometimes when I'm actually, my blog is Thoughts from Aisle 4. I used to food shop a lot with three sons, and while I'd be in the aisles, some of my best ideas came to me when I'm doing things that are not necessarily sitting and focusing. So even food shopping can be a practice, although I do it a lot less because mostly it's just me and my husband and my dog who are home right now. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't necessarily do as much yoga as I should. Sorry, Robin. Or I don't meditate. I probably should do more of that because I do have anxiety. But with the other stuff, I'm more lazy. In the better weather, I do walk a lot. Right now, it's about 400 inches of snow outside and 0 degrees. So I haven't been doing that and I'm missing that. So I find moving outside a little bit, even though I'm not much of an athlete, and that I can't wait to get back to that practice when the spring comes.
Well, Molly, what you are doing is practicing presence and mindfulness. So if you didn't know that, then if that's a revelation to you, that's what you are doing. You are practicing presence awareness. And that's why your writing is reaching so many people, because yoga and meditation isn't necessarily done on a mat. It's done when we can be very present with our day-to-day practices, our day-to-day washing dishes, day-to-day cleaning. And you are doing that. And so that is your daily practice, and you're doing it so well, you're doing it unconsciously. So you can do it and applaud yourself now when you're doing it, because you're doing it so, so well.
Can I come back tomorrow when I'm
Yeah,
not feeling good about, or any day? I'll just like,
absolutely.
I want to be interviewed by these people again because they make me feel so good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank
that's
you.
what mentorship does, and that's what community does, and we all need that. All of us, we need that. So keep going with your community. It's been an absolute pleasure.
So
Yeah.
nice to have met you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for being on. And where's the best place for people to find your books, and what's your Substack? We'll add links in the, show notes for people as well. But where would you like
So
people?
my books, just look up by name or by their name or my name on Amazon, or you can ask your local bookstores to order it, Amazon.com or Walmart.com. My Substack is Marlene Substack, for lack of a more original name, and my blog is Thoughts from Mile 4. If you look up Thoughts from Mile 4 on Facebook, you will find me and a wonderful community of like-minded people. Actually, a lot of Australians, a lot of Canadians too. I'm surprised they're still talking to us, but a lot of Canadians, a lot of Australians. So we have an international community, which is unbelievable. Here I sit in the cold and people from all over the world look at the internet. Isn't that incredible? So, yeah, so they can find me if they want to.
You are so much fun to spend time with. Thank you for everything you do, for what you write, for the inspiration, the wisdom that you had to share today. We'll link everything in the show notes for people to find you. And I can't wait to see what you do next. We're
Me
going to keep
too.
tabs. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Wisdom We Share podcast. We hope today's episode sparked some new insight, imagination, and practical tools you can integrate into your daily life.
Continue this journey with us by subscribing, sharing, and dropping us a review. Until next time, stay wise.